How's it shagging YouTube? My name is Shoogy, and today I wanted to show off some of the movies in my physical movie collection that you can hopefully see back here. Just wanted to show off some of them and tell you a little bit of my thoughts on them and why I like them and why I have them in my collection. Some of these movies I've had for up to 10 to 15 years, but most of them I've collected in the last 8 or so months, I think. So yeah, I'm proud of how far this collection has come, but I have a lot more collecting to do, so I'll do some updates throughout the years whenever I add more movies to my collection and stuff like that. So, you know, watch out for those, but for now this is what I got in my collection and I'm excited to show it to you. So let's get started. I'm just going to show them in the order that they're in over here right now, which is not any particular order. So yeah. So first up we have this DVD of the Dark Knight trilogy collection. I have had this since The Dark Knight Rises came out around 2012. I love this collection. I love, as you can see, it's got some wear up here, but I still love this collection. As you might be able to tell, it's got like one of those holographic things. It changes between all three logos from the movies. It's really cool, and that's just the slip cover. That's what the back has on it, another bat symbol. This comes out, and this is the actual case the movies are held in. Really cool design for this. Of course you can see all three movies going across like that, and then on the back it has the poster credits for all three movies. And what I really love about this is how it unfolds like that. You can see first time you unfold it, it's got art from The Dark Knight right there. Then you unfold it another time, and look at that. That's beautiful. Now most of the movies in my collection are Blu-ray, but this is DVD. I know the big thing right now is to collect 4K movies, but I won't lie to you, my eyesight is bad enough that I can't tell the difference between Blu-ray and 4K. I'm not saying there isn't a difference, it's just that my eyes can't see the difference. So I just buy Blu-ray mostly. So yeah, as you can see, all three movies, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I wore this bad boy out so much as a kid. I absolutely love The Dark Knight. I still love it. It was my absolute favorite movie as a kid. I will still say it's objectively the best Batman movie, but my favorite Batman movie is the next one in my collection that I'm about to show you. And that would be The Batman, the Robert Pattinson movie. I absolutely love this movie. This might just be my favorite movie right now in general, and it has been ever since it came out, really. As you can tell, this one is 4K. This is the first movie I bought when I really started like collecting movies. Like the first time I ever said I'm going to start collecting physical movies, this was the first one I bought. Like I said, it's 4K, and that's because I didn't realize that I watched this movie and a couple others, and I realized that I can't tell the difference between 4K and Blu-ray, so I just started buying Blu-rays after that. But I did get this on sale, and it's incredibly cool to have. It comes with over 2 hours of special features, making of documentary, deleted scene, really cool stuff. Inside we got 3 discs. This first one is the 4K version. There's also, I believe that's a Blu-ray version. Yeah, this is the Blu-ray, and then this is the special features. Really cool. Keeping with the Batman theme, I guess, as you can tell, I haven't opened this movie. This is something my mom gave me for Christmas. I just tell my family, you know, I like movies, you can get me any movie and I'll be glad to have it. And yeah, she gave me Batman and Robin. She knows I love movies. She knows I love Batman, so I'm sure most of you know, but this isn't the best movie, but it's fun. It's fun to watch, even if it is kind of silly. George Clooney as Batman, not the best thing to happen. I don't know why they gave him nipples as well, but it's one of those movies you put on and you get nostalgic about some of the sillier aspects of the 90s and such. But yeah, it's a fun movie, not perfect, but it's fun. Alright, moving on from Batman, finally, we got another collection of movies, and that's the Indiana Jones collection. I absolutely love Indiana Jones. I wanted to be him when I was a kid. This and the Uncharted games really spawned my love for history and archaeology. This is a 4-movie Blu-ray collection, the first 4 movies. I really enjoy all these movies. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Perhaps an unpopular opinion, but I don't actually really care for Temple of Doom. But I kind of gotta rewatch all 3 of these to kind of determine my ranking order. Well, all 4 of them really. I didn't bother getting Dial of Destiny. I didn't care for it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was boring, which is worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, quite honestly, because Kingdom of the Crystal Skull got a little too silly at points for me, but at least it wasn't boring. This also does come with bonus features, which are on set with Raiders of the Lost Ark, the making of all 4 movies, cast and creator interviews, and behind the scene peeks. So yeah, really cool collection. I love this collection. Love Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford is my hero. Moving on to a non-franchise movie, we got Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused. This is my dad's favorite movie of all time, and when he first showed it to me, it became my favorite movie of all time. I love hangout movies. I love movies that don't really have a plot but still have like emotional depth somehow, and I think this is probably the best example of that. This movie is incredible. It really captures, I mean, I wasn't there, but I can imagine that it really captures what it was like being a teenager growing up in the 1970s. And there's parts of that that are timeless, you know, like I experienced growing up in the 2000s and 2010s. I experienced things that happened in this movie in my day, so I think every person who was a teenager, which is everybody, will relate to this, and at the same time, it will make you yearn for a time that you weren't alive for, which I think is really beautiful. It's a lot of known actors in their youth, right at the beginning of their careers. Ben Affleck, Matthew McConaughey, of course. This is his first ever movie, and he's awesome in it, even though his character is kind of a creep. This one comes with deleted scenes, bloopers, retro public service announcements, which I've actually I've actually seen those on YouTube before. I haven't seen it on here, but those were like fake public service announcements they used to promote the movie. Really creative. I love stuff like that. Probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Here's another favorite of my dad's, but did become a favorite of mine, Days of Thunder. I'm a huge racing fan, and especially NASCAR, and as of right now, even though this movie isn't perfect, it's probably still the best NASCAR movie we have. I'm sure a lot of people would probably say Talladega Nights, and I have come to like that movie in its own regard, but this one's a more serious, respectful look at NASCAR, I guess. It's not, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun, and any racing or NASCAR fan should love it. I mean, it's really like Top Gun, but with NASCAR, and I mean, what's more badass than that, really? I think this is underrated poster art, by the way. I love the poster for Days of Thunder. I don't think we talk about it enough. The colors and everything going on, the sense of speed really captures like the heart of NASCAR, and really the heart of the movie. If you're a racing fan and you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do. Alright, back to franchise flicks. We got 2 movies that my brother got me for this past Christmas, and that's Dune Part 1 and Part 2. These really caught me by surprise. My brother, he told me that he was going to get me movies for Christmas, and I spent like the entirety of December trying to figure out what movies he could have possibly got me, and not once did I guess Dune. So he really killed it with this gift. I love these movies. I really think these movies are the cinematic experience of this current generation. You know, past generations had Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. This is what we have now. I love these movies. They are something to behold, visually masterpieces, and the overall themes and morals that they kind of explore are really, I mean, of course, the original book came out in the 70s, I believe, but speaks to how timeless they are, but also like how we're still dealing with similar problems that these movies speak about. And I mean, they're just larger than life. Denis Villeneuve kills the direction. I'm pretty sure Roger Deakins is the cinematographer. He's amazing. He's probably the best cinematographer working right now. Greg Fraser is up there as well, which he might have done this. I can't remember, to be honest. One of those two. Either way, they killed it. And the whole cast, it's really an ensemble of current day incredible actors. And Timothée Chalamet stands out. He's one of my favorite actors working right now. He absolutely kills it in both movies. Like I said, my brother killed it when he got these. Really the perfect Christmas gift. Yeah, I love these movies. I cannot wait for Dune Part 3. Going back to superheroes, we got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the trilogy. My brother and I watch the first movie from this collection every Thanksgiving. We think it's the perfect Thanksgiving movie, and you should too. Yeah, these are a childhood favorite. I will always love these movies. Even Spider-Man 3, I know some people don't really love that movie, but I even love that movie. I think all three of them are great. And even though Spider-Man 3 is not perfect, I really respect how it was pretty much made out of Sam Raimi's like pure hatred for Sony. You know, they tried to force him to put Venom in the movie and shit like that, so he was just like, I'm gonna make it shitty on purpose, and I can't help but respect that. And even when he tried to make it shitty on purpose, it still ended up being a pretty fun, good film, in my opinion. So Spider-Man 1 and 2 though, both masterpieces of the superhero genre. Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, up there with one of my best villain performances ever. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, also incredible. The sense of style and I mean, these are pure comic book movies. Sam Raimi puts all his style in it, and it's something we're really missing from comic book movies these days. And it's also just got that pure 2000s charm to it. I mean, I love it. It's every time I watch it, I feel like a kid again, and so nostalgic, so charming. I don't think there will ever be a better live-action Spider-Man movie. Back to racing movies, this is Rush 2013. This is an F1 movie, Formula One. It's about the rivalry between Niki Lauda and James Hunt back in 1976, I believe. Yeah, 1976. And it's an incredible movie about passion, rivalry. The story about Niki Lauda's comeback after getting injured is just incredible. It's one of the best sports stories ever, and the way Ron Howard turns it into a movie here is incredible. Yeah, it's between this or Ford versus Ferrari for what is, in my opinion, the best racing movie ever made. I don't have a physical copy of Ford versus Ferrari yet, unfortunately, but I will be getting it sometime sooner than later. Daniel Bruhl and Chris Hemsworth absolutely kill it in this movie. They really do capture the essence of their characters, Niki Lauda and James Hunt. This is probably Chris Hemsworth's best performance in a movie, quite frankly. Of course, nowadays he's more of an action star, but I think this movie really proves that he does have the chops for drama acting if he wanted to. Yeah, very underrated movie. Much better, in my opinion, than the F1 movie that came out last year. Wasn't a huge fan of that movie. I did like it, but this is A+ sports racing movie material right here, based on a true story. You know, it doesn't get better than the real thing. Alright, next up we have another one of the rare few 4K movies in my collection, 1917. This is one of the most technically impressive movies I've ever watched. If you've watched it, of course, you know that it's all one shot. Of course, it's not all in one take, but it's edited to be one shot, and the length of the takes anyway are super impressive, but also how seamless it is incredible, and how the actors sell it is amazing. The two lead actors in this film are very underrated actors that really deserve more recognition, and this movie in general deserves more recognition. I think a lot of people were in awe of it when it first came out because of the technical aspects of it, but this is genuinely one of the best war films ever made. It's definitely, in my mind, the best World War I film ever made. All Quiet on the Western Front is also incredible. I have to rewatch that movie, but I don't think anything will ever beat this for me. Sam Mendes, one of the best directors of our time. We don't talk enough about him either. An incredible director. I really would like to see him work on more stuff. I know he has those Beatles biopics coming out, which is cool. I like the Beatles, but, you know, do we really need 4 movies on them? So yeah, special features for this. Just the regular run-of-the-mill, you know, behind the scenes, but I'm sure it's really incredible to watch, knowing the technical aspects of these movies. Also, the making of the soundtrack, which is really cool. One of mine and my brother's favorites. Alright, next up is a collection of movies that are kind of controversial. I don't love all of them, but it's the Fast and Furious 7 movie collection. My mom and my dad really love all the Fast and Furious movies for some reason. They are a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, and I really like a few of them, but I won't say they're my favorite movies. The first 3, I think, are pretty good. Too Fast, Too Furious is probably my favorite. The chemistry between Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson is really really hilarious, and they do a great job on screen together. Plus, it's just got a good, like, crime thriller story with the undercover aspect and stuff. Tokyo Drift was my favorite growing up, but I rewatched it recently, and I didn't love it, to be honest with you. It's still better than some of the later ones. It's definitely got its moments of corniness and cringe. First 2 do as well, but not nearly as much as Tokyo Drift, quite frankly. But it does deserve respect for being the last Fast and Furious movie that was like truly about street racing and just love of car culture. Everything past that, I mean, they're fun as action movies, but I'm a car guy. I love cars, I love racing, so yeah, the first 3 really hold a place in my heart. Even though they're not perfect, they're a lot of fun. I got a lot of special features, deleted scenes, outtakes, making of, commentaries. So yeah, it's a cool collection if you're a Fast and Furious fan. Now here's an underrated collection of films that I am a huge fan of, and that is the Oceans trilogy, Oceans 11, 12, and 13. Amazing movies that I don't think we as a society talk enough about. First off, the cast is incredible. You got George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, Don Cheadle doing an awful British accent for whatever reason. Julia Roberts is great in these movies. I mean, it's one of the best ensemble casts created. A bunch of incredible actors at really probably their peak, to be honest with you. And these are just fun movies. Probably other than Heat, these are probably the best heist movies made. Of course, they are very different movies. These are more comedic and stylish, while Heat is more dramatic and it has its own sense of style, but it's very different, is my meaning. But still, I would put these right behind Heat in terms of best heist movies. What really sells it, though, is the actors, and Steven Soderbergh's direction is incredible. He's one of the most underrated directors probably ever. His sense of style is amazing. His editing is unlike anybody else in Hollywood, quite frankly. So yeah, if you have not watched these movies, you need to get on that. Oceans 11, 12, and 13. All 3 of them incredible, fun movies. Back to DVD. These movies are kind of split up weird, but it's okay. We got Pirates of the Caribbean. I believe this is just, yeah, the first movie, Curse of the Black Pearl, and At World's End. So we got the first 2 Pirates movies, or actually is this 1 and 3? I think this is 1 and 3. I'm missing the second one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Dead Man's Chest is the second one, I'm pretty sure. So, I gotta get that at some point, but it's cool to have these. My grandma actually sent these to me for my birthday last year, which was really cool of her. I mean, I know a lot of people have watched these movies, but I don't think many of us really appreciate how amazing these first three movies are. I mean, I think these are some of the best action adventure movies ever made. I mean, it's definitely the best pirates movie we ever got. Not that there's many pirate movies out there, but this really captures like the imagination of what it was like to be a pirate. Of course, you know, if you know anything about history, it wasn't really like how these movies describe. Of course, there wasn't no magic elements, but when we were a kid and wanted to be pirates, this is what we were thinking about. And these movies really capture it well. I think the set design and the direction and everything is really underrated. The CGI is probably some of the best ever done in filmmaking history. I mean, Davy Jones, underrated villain in general, but also the CGI on him has not aged a day. A lot of people talk about how this third movie is quite confusing. So confusing that when it was first coming out, they used to, in the theaters, they would give out pamphlets to parents who were watching it with their kids that would help them keep up with the plot of what was happening, but I really don't see that. I really don't see that problem. When I watch these movies, I find them very easy to keep up with and very enjoyable. Another franchise that I absolutely love, The Matrix. My grandma also gave me this Blu-ray collection, which was super cool. I mean, I just love the design of this box. I mean, look at that. That's great. I rewatched the first Matrix all the time. It's one of those movies, along with like The Dark Knight and a couple other movies, that I could probably watch The Matrix once a month, every month, for the rest of my life, and I would be perfectly happy doing it. Have you ever watched a movie that is so badass that it made you tear up? Because The Matrix did that for me. The only movies I can really think of doing that for me are The Matrix, Terminator 2, The Lord of the Rings definitely did that, and maybe The Dark Knight when I first saw it. Spoilers, by the way. But at the end of this movie, when, you know, Neo is on the phone talking about, you know, what the Matrix is and stuff, and then he walks out of the phone booth and flies up in the air, and Wake Up by Rage Against the Machine starts playing. That is the coolest, most 90s shit ever. I love it, and I literally started tearing up when it happened. I was like, this movie is so fucking badass, man. So yeah, I love this first movie so much. The other two, everyone knows, aren't quite as good, but they are still a lot of fun. The action sequences in all of these movies are incredible. Really next level stuff that I don't think we'll ever see the likes of again. Here's the other two. Special features for this one are commentaries by philosophers, which is interesting. Very Matrix critics, the cast and crew, and the composer, which is really cool. Weirdly, no commentaries from the Wachowskis, which is interesting. The directors, a feature-length documentary called The Matrix Revisited, which I guess is just like a retrospective of the creation of the movies. All the music is included, so you can just listen to the music on this. Music videos as well. And there is even a documentary about the creation of Enter the Matrix, the PS2 video game, which is really cool, as well as theatrical trailers and TV spots. So this is a full-on grade A movie collection for some of the best action movies of our time. So yeah, really great collection. My grandma, quite frankly, nailed it when she got this. Moving on to another great collection of action movies, we got the Daniel Craig James Bond collection. I think most of you would agree when I say this Daniel Craig, at least the Daniel Craig era, is probably the best, most consistently great era of James Bond. I mean, these movies, I mean, of course they have the advantage of being modern and having bigger budgets and more technical aspects than James Bond movies in the past had, but even without that, just on a storytelling level and direction, I mean, these movies are next level. Daniel Craig is incredible as Bond. I always find it hard to choose between Casino Royale or Skyfall as my favorite James Bond movie. I lean more towards Casino Royale just because, like, it captures, like, everything you need to know about James Bond as a character. You can really watch Casino Royale on its own and know pretty much everything there is to know about James. Plus, it's just an amazing thriller story. And the spot where it really gets Skyfall for me is in the third act. I think Casino Royale's final act is a lot better than Skyfall's. Skyfall, though, has what I would say better cinematography, and the action sequences are incredible. Another movie directed by Sam Mendes that he absolutely kills. I also don't hate Quantum of Solace and Spectre as much as a lot of people do. They definitely make mistakes, but overall I think they're good action flicks. Of course, No Time to Die I had to buy separately because the collection with all of these movies is relatively newer and it's much more expensive than this collection, so No Time to Die, also a really great movie. Definitely my third favorite, though the final act of this goes on for, quite frankly, way too long. And I know it's controversial in some aspects, but overall I love it. I love the Bond theme for this one. Billie Eilish is one of my favorite artists working right now, and this is her theme for this movie is probably my single favorite Billie Eilish song, as well as Casino Royale. Chris Cornell, one of my favorite musical artists ever, and he was amazing on You Know My Name for Casino Royale. So yeah, I love most of the Bond themes in general, just incredible music pieces, especially for being created just to be like for movies is really impressive. So yeah, Daniel Craig, James Bond, probably the best we've ever had. Though I do love Pierce Brosnan as well, he's incredible. Next up is a comedy that I have a lot of love for, and it's probably the most 2010s movie ever made, and that is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I think this movie is so creative, so much fun. Edgar Wright is another underrated director that we don't give enough love for. Shaun of the Dead is probably my favorite movie of his, but this is absolutely incredible. Another movie that I bought 4K because it was on sale, but soon realized that I didn't even need to buy it in 4K. But yeah, Michael Cera, so everybody in this movie is so funny, but Michael Cera and oh, what's his name? One of the Culkin brothers, Macaulay Culkin's brother. I'm sure I'll remember it after I get done finishing this video, but you guys know who I'm talking about. He's so funny in this movie. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, hilarious. I love her dry sense of humor that she has as Ramona Flowers. Also, so beautiful. She is absolutely gorgeous in this movie. She's absolutely gorgeous all the time, but Edgar Wright is probably my favorite single comedy director working right now. He's one of my favorite directors in general. Another one that's just so creative with the style and editing. Here's a look at the disc. We got a Blu-ray and 4K copy. Different art for both of them, which is really cool. We got 4 commentaries, deleted scenes, bloopers, which I would really love to see. Making of, music featurette, and videos. And this is really cool. Adult Swim Scott Pilgrim versus the animation. I need to watch that because I'm a huge Adult Swim fan, so I really need to check that out. So yeah, one of the best comedy movies ever. I laugh like crazy every time I see it. Here's a nostalgic favorite for a lot of us, the Ghostbusters. Oh, it's upside down. The Ghostbusters 1 and 2. As I can say for probably a lot of us, I don't particularly love the second movie, but yeah, I've had a copy of Ghostbusters for a long time, but this particular copy we got right before Hurricane Helene hit last year, just so we could have some stuff to watch in case the cable and stuff went out, which it did, so these movies came in handy. But yeah, Ghostbusters, it's a movie that can, quite frankly, never be made ever again. we could never have a cast of people from Saturday Night Live get together and make a movie like this. Every single person in this movie is hilarious. In fact, they have tried to make it again these days, and it did not go so well. Even the sequels I don't love. The first movie was really just lightning in a bottle. It's something else. It's so much fun, so charming, and yeah, every time you watch it, you get transported back to the 80s, and in a good way. Who doesn't love Ghostbusters? At least the first one. Rest in peace, Harold Ramis, one of the best to ever do it. Alright, looks like we're about halfway through this collection now, so we're getting there. Most of what I have are movies, but The Walking Dead, this is the only live action TV show I have physical copies of, and I only have the first 3 movies. I love television almost as much as I love movies, but I'm sure a lot of you know that it's a bit more expensive to collect physical copies of TV shows than it is movies. One is purely because there's a lot more of TV shows, you know, there's whole episodes and seasons of TV shows, but a lot of them are rare. But thankfully I was able to get a pretty good deal on these first 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, which are the best seasons of The Walking Dead in my opinion. And I recognize that The Walking Dead, past a certain point, isn't perfect. In fact, at some points it's downright not good. But this will probably always be my favorite live-action TV show ever. I know there are better ones, but something about The Walking Dead just really speaks to me. Part of it's a nostalgia factor. This was one of the first TV shows where my family would sit down every week to watch an episode together, and then when I went to school the next day, my friends and I would talk about it. One of the first water cooler shows, as we call them, that I watched. Even nowadays, in the days of streaming and stuff, I still prefer to watch TV shows one episode at a time. I'll watch an episode and wait and watch the next one a few days later or whatever. I just love that feeling of being able to really ruminate and think about the episode you just watched. And The Walking Dead really just captures my imagination. Whenever you watch this show, you can't help but think about how you would live in the zombie apocalypse. And yeah, I think The Walking Dead is the best zombie story ever. Rick Grimes, one of the best fictional characters ever created. I love his whole arc, and really The Walking Dead comes down to one man deciding whether the world deserves to even exist or not, you know, whether it's worth saving, which I think is just so intriguing. And really this show just explores humanity in an incredible way. So yeah, my friends and I, we absolutely love this show, and I will never not love it. My favorite live action show ever. Next up is the only other show I own a physical copy of, and it just so happens to be my favorite animated TV show ever, and that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. This show is incredible. I cannot say enough about it. I think everybody should watch Avatar at least once in their life. There is so much to be learned from it. It is a beautiful show. Each character is written incredibly, and every episode you learn something from it. And also, it's one of the most underrated fantasy worlds in fiction. I mean, I want to live in the world of Avatar so bad. I mean, it's so cool. The ideas behind bending and the elements, and not only them as, you know, action set pieces, but also them as what they represent philosophically and metaphorically. Really beautiful stuff. And yeah, I will never get over how good this show is. Every time I'm depressed or sad, I watch a few episodes of this, if not the whole series, all over again, and it fixes it. It reminds me of who I am as a person, and really why life is worth living and why it's worth fighting for. I don't think Nickelodeon will ever make anything like this again. I don't think we'll ever see an American cartoon like this ever again. It's just something else, man. I could talk about Avatar for hours, quite frankly. But yeah, super cool collection. I am so happy to have a physical copy of it. This is just the sleeve here. This is the actual art on the case. Really cool. I love the watercolor elements happening here. For the first time ever on Blu-ray, so this is the original set for when they first released it on Blu-ray, which is really cool. This is another thing my grandma got me. She actually sent me a picture of this over Facebook and was like, would you be interested in this? And she didn't know if I liked Avatar or not. I was like, hell yes, Grandma, this is, you have no idea what that would mean to me. So, yeah, this is not only my favorite animated TV show ever, probably my favorite TV show ever. I even love The Legend of Korra. I think it's a great show as well. Not as good as Avatar, but still incredible. And I'm really looking forward to the new Avatar show coming out later this year, I think. And the animated movies they have planned, I'm really excited for. I love everything Avatar. Like I said, everybody should watch Avatar at least once in their life, so if you haven't, get on it. Alright, next up is another collection of movies that I absolutely love, and that is an all-time classic franchise, Star Wars, the first 6 episodes. I actually got onto the Star Wars train pretty late. I didn't watch these movies until 5 or 6 years ago, I think. My friend Gavin put me on them, and growing up, I'll admit, I was kind of an idiot about these movies. I would be like, oh, only nerds watch Star Wars and stuff like that. But Gavin put me on them, and brother, I was enlightened. Thank you very much, Gavin, for putting me on Star Wars, because it changed my life. I really embraced myself as a nerd after watching these movies. I was like, yeah man, I'm a nerd. I love this shit. Give me more of that. I mean, what can I say about Star Wars? You know, if you've seen it, you at least respect it. Not everybody loves Star Wars. My brother doesn't love it, even though he's watched at least 4 of the movies with me. And, you know, I understand that. It's not for everybody. And the movies are not perfect. They have pacing issues, and the prequels have a lot of writing issues in general. For some reason, I just love everything about Star Wars. Revenge of the Sith is mine and Gavin's favorite Star Wars movie. We absolutely love that movie. Obi-Wan is my GOAT. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. Gavin's an Anakin Skywalker guy, so, you know, it kind of works out. If there's a movie that I never got to see in theaters that I would love to see in theaters, it's Revenge of the Sith. If they ever put that back in my local theaters, I'm going to be out there, probably with Gavin, watching that shit. So yeah, this collection comes with commentary for each movie from George Lucas and crew, interviews with the cast and crew, 45 deleted scenes, information about like props and costumes, paintings and concept art, documentaries, and more than 90 minutes of Star Wars spoofs, which ought to be pretty fun. So yeah, this is a great collection for Star Wars fans. And I don't really love the sequels, so that's why I just went ahead and got the first 6. I'm not going to hate on them like everybody else does, because I like aspects of them. It's just really these 6 Star Wars movies are the ones that I really rewatch all the time. And yeah, what can I say? It's Star Wars. Next up is a childhood favorite of mine, Back to the Future collection. These were my favorite movies as a kid until I watched the Dark Knight movies. Along the same lines of Ghostbusters, like they're so charming and so nostalgic. I do love timeless movies. Movies that can like stand the test of time are really impressive more than anything. But I do think there are some movies that like transport you back to the time they came out in a good way, and Back to the Future is definitely one of those for me. Though it is, no doubt, it's really technically impressive. The costume and set design is incredible, and how it's filmed is amazing. is appropriate for a time travel movie. It's both timeless and brings you back to a different time. So, probably the best, like, original blockbuster ever made, if you know what I mean. Next up is probably my favorite horror movie of all time. This is the first horror movie we've talked about, and it is the slasher classic John Carpenter's Halloween. This was my favorite horror movie growing up. I won't sit here and say it's the best one, because parts of it haven't aged incredibly well. Something about it just speaks to me. One, I mean, Halloween's my favorite holiday, and this captures the spirit of Halloween so well. You know, a lot of people talk about nowadays how this movie isn't scary, but really that's like the whole point of the movie, is about like how generations become sensitized to violence and horror to the point that like things that should be terrifying are no longer scary. So I mean, it really works out that people don't see the horror in it anymore unless you really read into it and pay attention to it. And of course, it's just a masterpiece of suspense. John Carpenter, one of my favorite directors of all time, one of my favorite people of all time, just a cool ass dude. This is one of his best works. I won't say it's his best work, because that's probably going to be the next thing we look at. But yeah, probably my favorite work of his. This comes with audio commentary with John Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Deborah Hill. Facts about the film, trailers, TV spots, and radio spots, which is really cool. The best slasher movie ever made. Also, one of the most underrated poster arts ever made. I think that is so cool. The knife becoming the pumpkin. We don't talk about that enough. That shit's awesome. So that's my favorite horror movie ever made. Next up is what I think is objectively the best horror movie ever made. And it's another John Carpenter classic. John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, I said Halloween was a masterpiece of suspense. This is the masterpiece of suspense. Every moment of this movie, after the reveal of The Thing, is just so nail-biting. You are paranoid for almost the entire runtime, if not the entire runtime, because like as soon as the movie starts, you're like, what is going on? What's happening? What the hell is that dog doing? This is probably the only 4K movie I have where I really saw a difference. This movie, the cinematography is timeless. It is harrowing yet beautiful, and it looks so good in 4K. One of the most underrated ensemble casts ever put together. Kurt Russell and Keith David specifically are so good in this movie. The practical effects in this movie are unlike anything ever made. I cannot talk about it enough. Practical always beats CGI. If your movie can do practical effects even half as good as this movie, it will stand the test of time for the most part. I mean, it's crazy how good this movie looks, how real its effects are, even this much later, you know. It's really incredible. The best horror movie ever made. Next up is one of the best war movies ever made, and that's Platoon. I think this is a very underrated pick in terms of the discussion around the best war movie ever made. I think this is definitely up there. I don't know if I would say it is the best, but it's probably in my top 5. As you can tell, this is just a DVD. I've had this for about 10 to 15 years, I would imagine. The entire cast is incredible. Willem Dafoe in his youth was killing it. Tom Berenger, really underrated actor in general, but his performance in this movie is great but terrifying. The movie in general is just that, great but terrifying. It's a really harrowing study of war. One of the most iconic posters ever made. The scene that this poster is based on is one of the best war sequences ever put to film. There are so many good movies surrounding the Vietnam War because it was such a interesting piece of human history. The best ones are the ones made by the people that lived through it, and Oliver Stone is one of those people. Him putting his depiction of it to film makes for one of the best war films ever made. So, yeah. A great movie. This is another one of those collections that we got before Hurricane Helene hit. As you can tell, I haven't even opened this. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street 4-film collection, I believe. Yeah, 4-film, the first 4 movies. I'll be honest with you, really the first movie is the only Nightmare on Elm Street film I really care about. I think it's one of the best horror movies ever made. Still creeps me out. There's not a lot of horror movies I can say that about, but when I watch A Nightmare on Elm Street now, it still really creeps me out at some points of the movie. Freddy Krueger is one of the most unique, scariest movie villains put to film. He's so creepy, so weird. It's really the stuff of nightmares, you know. Only Wes Craven could come up with the stuff that happens in this movie in his dreams. They're fun in their own right, but nothing holds a candle to the first one, really. So many iconic horror sequences in that movie, and yeah, it's one of my all-time favorites. This is another movie I haven't opened yet, just because I haven't had the opportunity to watch it, really, but National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Super funny movie, probably my favorite Christmas movie of all time. My dad and I watch it every year. Chevy Chase, absolute asshole, real piece of shit. Objectively, super funny. Love this movie, great memories of it with my dad. This is probably the most unique thing I own in my collection. It's not necessarily a movie or a TV show, but it's a documentary that my uncle gave me about Dale Earnhardt Jr., the NASCAR driver, and his relationship with the National Guard, which sponsored him for a few years in his career when he switched to the number 88. Not much to say about this, it's just a cool thing that I own as a NASCAR fan. To be honest with you, I watched it yesterday for the first time, and it's practically National Guard propaganda, but it's cool to own as a NASCAR fan and a Dale Jr. fan, my favorite NASCAR driver of all time. So it's just something neat that I have. A DVD of James Cameron's Avatar. I'll be completely honest with you, I don't really care for this movie. It's not a terrible movie. I just don't really have any personal connection to it. But my grandma sent it to me, so I hold on to it. And plus, I mean, it is definitely a point in movie culture that is talked about a lot, so it has its own place in my collection for sure. This is the extended collector's edition as well, so I mean, that's cool. It's not a bad movie at all, and I really respect James Cameron as a director, and I respect the hell out of him putting like everything he has into making these movies that he really believes in. It's just I don't really connect with them on a personal level. I do respect also the environmental aspect of it and what they stand for, but yeah, just doesn't really connect to me on a personal level very much, but I have a lot of respect for it. And finally, the last movie in my collection, this is a DVD that I've had since I was a kid, and it is Peter Jackson's King Kong, a very underrated movie. Of course, most people know Peter Jackson for directing the Lord of the Rings movies, which he absolutely, I mean, probably, if you ask me, probably the single best job a director has ever done on a trilogy of movies. But this is an underrated work of his that isn't The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and he does almost as incredible job on this. This movie is kind of too long and the pacing is weird at points, but I love the action set pieces. The cast and the characters are all great. It really does a great job of transporting you back to the 1930s. I think just a very underrated movie, and it's got a very underrated video game on the PS2 to match. So yeah, I think everybody should check out this movie at least once. Okay, well, I think that's about it for now. This camera's about to die, so I need to end this video quickly. Sometime soon I will show off my CD and video game collection back here for another time, and also if I have any updates to my movie collection, any major updates for my movie collection, I will also share that with you all, so make sure you subscribe and keep tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.